to the Fanspeak Network and our very first episode of Wagers with Friends. What is it? I'll explain it to you in just 1 minute. That's right. Wagers with Friends. This is a spinoff of a show we did, Friends of Best Ball, and now we're bringing it to the sports betting space. I'm Meg, and I am joined by my friend in the industry, Mr. Sia Nejad. I am lucky to work with him on Fantasy Football Today DFS, but he's a busy man. You can catch him on By the Book, CBS Sportsline, Fantasy Football Today DFS. I get to work with you every Thursday morning, but it's good to see you here. Thank you so much for being my friend, wagering friend today, Sia.
I can't wait. By the way, that intro song totally had me pumped up.
Did it get you fired up?
Yeah, I thought the graphics were really cool. I'm happy to be here. By the way, our Fantasy Football Today DFS show yesterday, which we do every Thursday at 11, I listened back to it. I mean, it was so good. You were so good. Mike McCoy was so good. I was so average. It doesn't matter. The whole show.
You're the best
great.
Every week. You crush it every week.
But I'm very excited to do this. I think this is a really cool concept, and I know you're about to touch on what this is beyond the wagers themselves, but really cool to incorporate a charitable component into it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's our first one, so it could be bumpy first time, but basically what this is we are each going to make four of our favorite best bets for week one, and we're going to compete against each other. Essentially, we'll go back and forth, and at the end, if we're wagering the exact same amount or unit size, whoever would profit more or lose less, however you want to say it, whoever does better would be the winner. And the winner will pick a charity of their choice for the loser. I hate to use the word loser, but for the person who doesn't win to donate to that week, to make a small charitable donation to the winner's charity. So that's how it's going to work. And Sia, you're obviously one of my favorite people in the industry. You're one of the nicest people in the industry. So I couldn't think of a better person to start this with than you. So
thank you.
Yeah, I had to give compliments too. So which charity will you be playing for today if you win? Who would I donate to?
So if you lose to me, you're going to donate to a charity that I've been donating to and just bringing away. There's so many I have in mind, by the way, but I'm going to go to a smaller one that's actually been growing, been winning some local awards here in the area that we're familiar with, this Virginia, Maryland, DC area. And it's Rachel's Bears. Rachel's Bears.
I've seen you tweet this before. Yes.
Yeah. A couple of really nice people, a husband and wife team started this, I think in honor of one of their friends who I believe passed. I could be wrong about that, so I won't go any further into that part of it. But Rachel's Bears is meant to benefit pediatric patients, not in the typical way where you're raising money for like cancer research and things of that nature, like St. Jude might. This is more of a instant comforting way where they basically put these pediatric patient packages together where a young girl or a young boy might be in the hospital for a very long stay because of cancer or whatever the case may be. Some of these illnesses that are really, not great for anybody, let alone a child. And what these care packages are a book that somebody can read to them, like a children's book, and a teddy bear for them to just hug and squeeze while they're, sometimes having those tough moments in the hospital. So literally all these packages are, if you were to donate, let's say $25 to Rachel's Bears, that would equate to one package for one child. So they would be getting the stuffed animal, they would be getting the children's book, and they would just sort of have that by their side for anybody to read that book to them, or, the bear to be with them, or what have you. And I've seen and I've heard from them specifically the smiles that are put on these kids' faces. And, it's a small charity that I think deserves a little bit more attention because of what it does instantly in putting smiles on kids' faces that are going through tough times.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think it's not only amazing that we can make a donation and have some gambling for good here, gambling for a cause, whatever you want to call it. But you also can bring awareness to certain charities. I've seen you tweet about it, but just hearing about it again makes me want to learn more. And so that sounds like an absolutely amazing charity. We've got Andrew in chat that asks if you know the website for Rachel's Bears. So if you could put it in chat or let me know, and I'll throw it and put it in.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's rachelsbears.org. And I'm gonna just fact check myself right now because I'm almost positive. Yep, it's rachelsbears.org. That's Rachel's Bears. Obviously, it's all one word. It's a URL. There it is. Yeah. Rachel's Bears giving smiles to children receiving hospital care is sort of the extended title of that website.
Okay. I put that in the chat. And Andrew also loves him. He has great hair. And so from one man with a good head of hair to another, he says your hair is on point.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, it looks great. Sia, it looks great. I'm not having a good hair day. Just throw it in the bun. But your hair looks great. I'm sure Andrew's hair looks great. And he can't wait to hear our bets for what we got opening weekend. So I will be, if I win and you lose, you will be donating. My, family, extended family has been, as most people have been touched by cancer in various ways. And so one foundation I've always loved is the Jimmy Valvano Foundation, the Jimmy V Fund. And obviously the story of Jimmy V himself is so inspiring. So it kind of obviously is bringing awareness to different, finding different cancer treatments. And obviously it is kind of doing a ton of research for many different cancers out there. So kind of a broader brush there, but I do love the Jimmy V Fund and have donated there before and wanted to make that my charity today. So those are the two charities we're playing for, Jimmy V Fund, rachelsbears.org. And now begins the fun, Sia, of our favorite week one bets. And I know where you are on some things because we did the Thursday show together and it was so fun. And you're probably going to know where I am on some things, but you're my guest. I'd like you to go first. What's your first bet of the week?
So I have to give out a play that I gave out on Sportsline like literally a month ago. It was the first play where I was like, I'm taking a stand on this team. I like them plus 330 to win their division, which is obviously pretty long odds. I think the Texans are very good, but maybe slightly overrated. Give me the Colts plus 3. That number is still out there. This line opened at the Colts plus 1.5. It jumped to plus 3. I think because Anthony Richardson had a checkered preseason and the market just came in on the Texans, which makes sense. It's still plus 3 in certain places, including it looks like at Caesars and at DraftKings. I think you can still, maybe not DraftKings anymore, BetMGM. I think you can still grab plus 3s. In other places, that plus 3 has gone down to plus 2, plus 1.5, but I can still get plus 3 at minus 115. I think the Colts are a better team than people think. I think they have a great coach in Shane Steichen. I think their defensive line is underrated. And if they can get the right pressure on CJ Stroud, maybe that throws them off, especially in an away environment. I think this offense with Anthony Richardson is better than people think. I think it's hard to stop Anthony Richardson if he doesn't make big mistakes. Receiving core, pretty solid, mostly intact, although Josh Downs may not play. Jelani Woods out. Long story short, plus 3 is way too much. That's a key number. I still really like it money line at plus 1.5 if you wanted to take that, but I'm happy to take the plus 3 on the Colts week 1.
Okay, so Sia's first play is plus 3 on the Colts. What I will be doing is I will be putting this all either on fanspeak.com or on Twitter to obviously track this weekend. But I will be putting this all on fanspeak.com likely this weekend to track this. I'll make a fun way to track these bets each week. So look for that tomorrow. So that you'll see it in print here tomorrow. I'll get that up. So my first play is I'm usually, as you know, more of a props touchdowns girl, and there will be that. But I don't do the sides and totals as much, but I do like one. And I love Dak and Dallas as far as an offense. I actually just like them this week because it's more a play against the Browns than it is a play for the Cowboys. It's more play against Deshaun Watson, I should rephrase, than a play against. I think the Browns defense is elite. I am worried about Dallas traveling to Cleveland. However, I just don't think, Deshaun Watson's coming off the shoulder injury. There has been kind of mixed messaging on how he's been in camp. And so, you just need a quarterback to win in the NFL. And so I'm just kind of banking on the better quarterback here, even though I am nervous. Dallas on the road, elite Cleveland defense. Again, I'm just kind of betting Dak leading the Cowboys over Deshaun leading Cleveland. Risky, but it's plus 118. I'm betting Dallas on the money line. So, I'm going to go for it.
I like it. That game I'm kind of staying away from personally, but I think you make a really good argument. What's funny is this is a quarterback driven league, and no matter how good the Cleveland defense is at home specifically, if you don't have the quarterback, you're not really moving the ball downfield in all likelihood, especially when you don't have Nick Chubb behind there. So I'm staying away from that game, but I completely get that take. And I love that you're taking the money line and getting that plus money.
Yes, yes. And we got Andrew in chat. See, talking about charities is fun. Gambling
Awesome.
for Good is fun because he's sponsoring a kit right now. So that's awesome.
Very
and
cool.
I think I'm so inspired. I want to whether I win or lose here, but no, we'll see how this plays out. And I definitely gonna go check out that website as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our first 2 plays up. Sia, let's go to you for your second play.
Well, you said you like props, so I'm going to bring one prop to this.
Love it.
I'm probably going to have more props later on in the week and the weekend because I haven't been able to just dive into everything yet. But one thing that really stuck out to me was Bo Nix. I'm not a Bo Nix truther. I'm not saying he's going to be like so great, although I think he's going to be pretty solid. Yeah. His team is really rocky. So, put Bo Nix in Chicago and maybe we're talking about him in a different capacity than if he, at the end of 2024 than if he were in Denver. With all that said, Sean Payton offense, dink and dunk, get the ball out fast. That's what Bo Nix is really good at. He's very efficient. He likes to throw near the line of scrimmage. So I'm looking at a completions prop. I got earlier in the week, and I think the number is still the same, frankly. Bo Nix over 19.5 completions at -125. I just think we're in a situation where we're going to have a negative game script against a Seattle team that is very underrated, in my opinion, that has a new DC in Mike McDonald and a new OC in Ryan Grubb from the Washington Huskies. I think they're going to be pretty solid and probably make the playoffs. And on top of that, they're playing Denver, who's going to be in a negative game script. Bo Nix is going to have to pass the ball. He's probably going to be doing it near the line of scrimmage, getting the ball out fast, like I said, over 19.5 passing completions.
Okay, 19.5 passing completions -125. I got it. I like that. I like that. And especially you just kind of got to lean into Sean Payton and all the points you made about Bo Nix's efficiency. I like that prop. I do. So my next 3 are props or hitting the prop market. And I'm going to start with a guy we talked about on our DFS show. Actually, we talked about all of these on our DFS show on Thursday. So yeah, you can check that out on Fantasy Football Today DFS. But Kenneth Walker, we both love Kenneth Walker this week. So why not attack his rushing line of just 67.5 Broncos? We're staying in the same game here. Broncos have a susceptible run defense. I like him to score. I like his rushing prop. I think you could alt it. I'm going to stay with the -114, 67.5 over. But yeah, we're likely obviously playing from a positive game script too for Kenneth Walker. As we saw, I actually liked Pacheco's rushing. It didn't get there in a positive game script yesterday, but as you saw, that can make a big deal. Derrick Henry didn't get there because he was in a negative game script. So that is very important. And I think obviously Kenneth Walker has that going for him, as well as being absolutely an explosive running back who the coaches love and has an elite matchup this week. So Kenneth Walker for me, for my second pick.
I was just looking at rushing attempts props and I wasn't able to pull it up immediately, but I'm going to look at Kenneth Walker rushing attempts because I think he's going to be efficient. We know he's very much the 1A to Zach Charbonnet. Sure. And you're right. A positive game script. It does make for a Kenneth Walker loaded second half potentially. So if that, I don't know what the rushing attempt prop is, but if it's something like that 13.5 range, I think I would be looking at the over. Probably 14.5, I'd probably stay away, which is frankly probably where it is. But I speak from ignorance there. All right, let's go to my next one.
Yes, let's hear number 3.
I'm thinking about, because I probably should have played with the juice a little bit here to make this a little bit more palatable, or I shouldn't say palatable, but to make it a plus money play. So
you still can if you want.
I know I can, but I'm going to take the safer play here.
Okay.
I'm taking the Arizona Cardinals team total
like
over 19.5 at -120. Now, playing with the numbers, I could have gone to 20.5 instead of 19.5. And I believe, if memory serves, that was like +118 or +110 or something like that. But I'm going to stick with the 19.5 because 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals gets me there. I really want to take Arizona +6.5 at Buffalo because I think Buffalo is kind of bad relative to where people think Buffalo still is in the AFC stratosphere. Yeah. And I think Arizona is much improved. Now, their defense probably has some work to do, but I think their offense, when Kyler Murray came back from injury, which, by the way, totally surprised me. I thought he'd just sit the season out, and I didn't understand why you're like kind of rushing him back. But Kyler wanted to play. He played really well. Yeah. It was a very good offense. James Conner was good. Now you add Marvin Harrison. Trey McBride is a real tight end. I mean, this guy's legit. And then, wide receiver 3, 4 that, you got some work there with Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch. But I think you're going to be able to move this ball down the field, especially in a negative game script where you're a 6.5 point dog. So while I think they might cover, I think at the very least, we're looking at a backdoor team total cover here with Kyler Murray, maybe in the fourth quarter, peppering Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison. So team total, Arizona over 19.5 at -120.
I like that a lot. I actually like a lot of team totals this week where it just feels safer to attack instead of the game total, just feels safer to attack one side for, like you said, a palatable total. So I like that a lot. Okay, so that's number 3 for Sia. Number 3 for me is going to come to no surprise of you because of how frustrated I am about Washington's secondary. You got Benjamin St-Juste. And I'm blanking on his name now, but our a second or third year cornerback, Emmanuel Forbes, thank you, who I don't think stands a chance against the big Mike Evans. So I'm going Mike Evans, 80 plus yards, plus 134. Wow. I think you could get spicy and do 100 plus. We did a we called it the prop party, but we did a prop show yesterday. You can check that out on the Fanspeak Network. We love Mike Evans. We talked about a lot of other alt props that we don't mind or really think are some value to, and that you could ladder it up if you want, because they could just have a massive gain. Mike Evans is one that I think could have a massive day. And so I love 80 plus yards at plus 134. I'm most of my DFS lineups are going to have Mike Evans or Godwin in it. So you knew this was coming, right, Sia?
Yeah, and so I think it's cool that you went to the 80 plus range at plus money. And I think that's this is a good like quick teaching moment for people, especially when it comes to NFL receiving props. Laddering or just going for those alt totals when you think a guy's just going to get downfield and beat an Emmanuel Forbes or just a very vulnerable secondary. I mean, even tonight's a bad example because there's so many receivers on the Packers and the Eagles that could get live. But with the Buccaneers, I mean, it's really Godwin and it's Evans. Over top, Trey Palmer might work in. I mean, I think they got another
Jalen McMillan's going to be an interesting rookie. Yep,
good call. But either way, I think in a lot of these games, especially when the target share is, only to maybe 3 guys and you're going against a beatable secondary, you might have a prop on a receiver at 46.5 or something. You might want to hit that, but then hit the 60 plus and the 70 plus and 80 plus. It might take just 3 catches, if not 2 to hit that. So that's something that's really interesting. All right. I'm debating. I could give one out tonight, but I think I'm going to go with my 4th one to the Dolphins. I'm going to Miami, where I moved from. I was in Miami for 17 years. I'm back in DC.
Yeah.
And when Trevor Lawrence was at Clemson, people were like generational this, generational that. And I was like, you know what? I'm not a QB talent evaluator, but I don't see what you all are seeing. And it came out in the draft. People were saying generational. And I'm like, I literally said on SiriusXM, I was like, this guy's closer to Blaine Gabbert than he is to generational, which for the record was kind of a compliment on Blaine Gabbert because I thought he throughout his career was slightly underrated as a backup quarterback.
Right.
But I don't think Jacksonville's good. And I think their defense is good. And I think they have some weapons on offense. But you go down to Miami from Jacksonville. First of all, the weather's a lot different from Jacksonville to Miami. It's a 7-hour drive, folks. And you go against a Mike McDaniel offense that's had all offseason to prepare for you. I'm not sure I believe in Peterson out there for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The weapons appear to be healthy. I think Waddle's going to be healthy. I know Tyreek Hill's going to be healthy. All the running backs are healthy. I think this defensive line could get to 2 and force them into a turnover. I hope that doesn't happen because I like the Dolphins -3. I think it's 3.5 in some places, but it's still -3 in places. I believe it -115 still. So give me the Dolphins. I should double check that. It might be put down -125 just to be safe there.
Okay.
Because I know it's 3.5 in some places. I don't mind taking some extra juice because I'm not 100% sure in this moment. But I like the Dolphins at home to win this one by more than 3 points.
Okay, so Dolphins -3 for Sia's final pick. Okay, so and by the way, I like that one, and I love how the Dolphins put especially early in the season. I mean, it's hot in Miami all the time, but the away teams in the sun.
It's so unfair. It is. It's not cool, but that's what they do, and it works.
It's not, but it's fun. It kind of makes me laugh, but
it's funny.
Any little edges, right? Any little edges.
Yes.
Okay, so for my final pick, you're not going to be surprised about this either, because we talked about this on the DFS show. I like him in DFS. I like him in the prop market. I like him for anytime touchdown. And by the way, let me take a quick victory lap. I love anytime touchdowns. And I did hit a 3-leg anytime touchdown parlay yesterday. Last night I told people on Twitter that I posted a total lotto one that did not win because it was the 2 touchdown one, but I did one with Isaiah Pacheco, good old big dog Derrick Henry, and Xavier Worthy. And so I said, if you like a touchdown bet and you like the under, split your bet and bet, split it up. And so I did that. And so I got the 3-leg touchdown bet, and I almost had the under. I missed the under by 1. I should have altered it up a little, because what it does is, it freaks out a same game parlay that the books cannot handle when you say these 3 guys are going to score and the under is going to hit. I missed by 1, but anyways, wow. It's a good story. It is a good, if you really like an under, but you still like touchdowns in a game. And I actually don't mind the under tonight. International games, tend to go under. So if you do like an under and you like some touchdowns, it's worth splitting up your bet. So I had to take a quick victory lap, Sia, on that. So that was great. Fun. To opening night to hit a 3-legger, that was pretty fun. So I'm going to go stay in my wheelhouse. And my wheelhouse is, I think, anytime touchdowns. And Justin Jefferson plus 135 to score. You talk about like a condensed target tree. They don't have Hawkinson. Addison looks like he's going to play, but he's, coming off an ankle injury. They've got Jalen Naylor. I think he's a little banged up. I mean, Jefferson's the best receiver in the league. And I know we have Sam Darnold playing, but I kind of am leaning into it. And so and we're also attacking a New York Giants defense that is one of the worst secondaries right up there with Washington. So,
yeah. I like that play. I think, I'm playing Justin Jefferson a little bit in DFS as well. I think he could absolutely have a big game. No more Xavier McKinney on that defense either. So, went from bad to worse. I love the play. By the way, I didn't ask you what charity you're playing for. Did I? Did you?
I said at the beginning, the Jimmy V Foundation.
My bad. I forgot. How could I forget that?
And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tweet both of our charities. So we have can see who we're both playing for, and people can check out both links. But yeah, the Jimmy V Foundation, I'm just always so inspired by Jimmy V. I could catch 1 minute of that speech and just turn into tears. So, but no, so Jimmy V Foundation, rachelsbears.org are the 2 charities we are playing for. I will put this on fanspeak.com so we can track it. I will tweet out the charities, and we will track this. It'll be a fun thing to check out Monday. By the way, Andrew liked your Bo Nix call, that he also likes Bo Nix, the spicy plus 600 for anytime touchdowns. And he says, we like the TD anytime touchdowns here at Fanspeak. He said TD parlays are what get the juices flowing. We got Felix in chat. Always love to hear from Felix. He says, good morning. Great call. I'm guessing that was right after Justin Jefferson. And we got Tyler checking in. He's one of my best friends in this space. He says, hit that like, y'all, and good morning from Vegas out there with the all the people doing those big, huge fantasy drafts here before as the season's starting. So hope you're having fun in Tyler. Love to see you checking in from good sunny Las Vegas. So this was fun, Sia. It was my first time doing this. Didn't know how it'd go. It was a blast.
This was a blast. I see Wheels Up dropped in the chat. He does some podcasting as well. He says morning NFL with voices I trust and love.
Aww.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Yes, thank you for saying that. Thank you for joining us and jumping in chat. Love to hear it. So yeah, absolutely. This was any final thoughts that you have for tonight or week 1 before we get on out of here, Sia?
So first of all, I think this is a great show. I think it's a great concept. I can't wait to track it the entire year. Tonight, speaking of overs and unders, I do like the Packers, not necessarily to cover. I like their team total over 23.5 because I think this Eagles defense is still vulnerable, particularly in the early part of the season. And I just love how Matt LaFleur runs his offense. I don't care who's playing quarterback. Those receivers just seem to be open, and Jordan Love knows where to go. You got Christian Watson healthy, all that. So that's what I'm feeling for tonight, and over 23. It's not a strong conviction play, but it is an official play for me that I put out on Sportsline. These international games, like you said, it's a little squirrely, so hard for me to say. But thank you for having me on. I'm very honored to be your first guest.
It was so fun. I picked the perfect first guest, so I love it. It was great to have you, and thank you guys for joining us. Be sure to hit that like button on your way out. So for Sia, I'm Meg, and we will see you next time.